Okay, as you can see then, I'm logged in here as ACS Learner into Teams. I'm going to click onto 11D. I'm going to go to the distance learning section, and I'm going to see the to-do list assignment. That assignment then has the instructions there and the link to the online IDE. When I click on it, it'll open it up and it brings you to this screen here. Now, you haven't got a local account. You're going to click on Google Plus. It's going to open up and ask you who you want to sign in as. I'm going to use ACS Learner. Here he is. And then it's going to bring me back here. Just like in Teams, I got the class 11D and I got the to-do list here. Now here's the one I did in the live lesson, so I'm just going to delete that out from there and start over fresh. Get rid of that section for a second and we can get started. As with always, I'm going to start with a print command just so that I know what program I'm running. I'm going to say, welcome to my to-do list. Our to-do list then starts off by setting up our list as a equal to blank list. So we use the word list as a command and give it nothing to put into it. From there, I'm going to set a few different functions. I'm going to start off with my add function, which is going to accept the to-do list as it's passed to it. And I'm just going to highlight that section. I'm going to copy it. So there's add, display, remove, end, and menu. The 4 different elements I need. So add, display, remove, end, and menu. May need to rename end. We'll come back to that in a second. Each of these then are separate functions, so I'm going to separate them out, and underneath each one, put in a simple print command. So print, and this is add. Again, I can highlight that, copy it, Control and C, Control and V, just to paste them through, put a space there, copy the name of it, so that I know which one is running. Once I've done that, just to make sure my program's running as expected, I'm going to do simply add and pass it to do. So I'm given the name of my function to call my function. Display, passing it to do, remove, and end, and then finally menu as well. So if I run my program then, down here in the black console you'll see, welcome to my to-do list, add, display, remove, end, and menu. Now realistically, my menu is what's going to call my other functions. So all of these, I'm going to just indent them one, get rid of this blank space here, and then I'm going to print there. Now if I repeat the process and press play, it will do the same process, but now the word menu will be on the second option. So run, welcome to my to-do list, menu, and then the rest of the commands. Well, unless the user chooses to end it, we want it to repeat forever. And the way we do that in Python is we put in a while loop, and we say true. Now we're not telling it what we want to check is true, we're just telling it that it's true. So it will always loop. And when I run this one, what you'll see is this process here repeated endlessly. So run. And it's not happy because I forgot to put in my double dots. Ironically, it did the same thing in the live lesson. And there you can see it's repeating the process over and over and over. And if I scroll, you can see on the side of the scroll bar, I keep jumping to the bottom because there's so much going on. So that's working fine. Here then, we need to be able to decide which one of these 4 our user wants to do. So I'm going to change that to option equals input. And I'm going to put in the question then, which process do you want to run? And I'm going to give them the options. So first option, let me go \n to put on its own line. First option is add item, \n. Then we want to do the second item, which is display list. Let's put a capital D in. And Then we want to do a \n to go down to new line, do a third one, which is to remove item, and then \n for the last one, which is our fourth one, which is exit the program. Let's put that in place there. And that will put in my options. What I'm going to do next is put in if statements to check which option they put in place. So if option equals, and I'm going to say in speech marks 1, then I wanted to do my add function, so that needs to be indented 1. I copy that line, go down on to the next line and paste it there, and that's become elif, which is the same as saying if the first one's not true, check this one. And then we do the same thing again, so paste it, elif, and change that to 3, and then change this one finally to elif and 4. Now, when I indent these, that would be my menu system setup. I need to put in one last command, which is else print, and that's just a simple sorry, I didn't understand that. So if the user enters something that's not one of our 4 options, then we fall into this part here and the computer explains that it didn't get what they meant. That's how my program looks so far. If I run that, it comes down here. Which process do you want to do? If I put in the number 5, it says sorry I didn't get that and repeats itself. 1, it just says the word add. One subtle change I do want to make, I can't adjust this window to make it more obvious, but on the end here, I'm going to do \n so that my answer goes on its own line as well. With all of that in place then, all I have to do next is set up my add, display, remove, and end functions. I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to do end first. So I'm going to say goodbye. And then just print down here, exit. Now, if I run that, I put in the option 4, says goodbye, and ends my program. I'm now going to jump back up to the top here and do add, then display, and then finally remove, which is the most difficult of all 3 of them. So in this one then, I'm going to put in a new item. I'm going to ask them to input and say, what do you want to add to your list? And then all I have to do to add it to my list is to do the name of my list, dot, and we can't use add as a function because we're using it here. We use the word append, which means add to the end of, and I want to add to the end of it our new item. Again, I'm going to put in a \n here so that my answer is on a new line. For my display then, what I'm going to do is just simply loop through all the items within my to-do list, print them to the screen. We've done loops before. We're using a while loop at the bottom, but this is back to a for loop like we did last time. Item in, and instead of range and giving it a number, what we're going to say is to do. And then simply print item. Now if I run this, just to show you how it works so far, if I add 1, I say bacon, say 1 to add another item, eggs, 1 to add another item, I say bread. If I click on 2, it displays bacon, eggs, and bread. If I press 3, at the moment it just says remove. 4 ends my program. So the last part then, our remove function. What I'm going to do for this one is a little bit more complicated. I'm going to be using the same item, this here, and I'm going to change it up slightly. So instead of the word remove, I'm going to say in there, instead of new item, remove item. What item do you want to remove from your list? That process is still the same. The difference comes on the next step. We have to use something called a try. Because if I try to remove something and I haven't got it in my list, it will break my program. By putting in this try except, what we can do is we can just say, try to remove this item. So I do to do, dot remove, and then it would be in there remove item. If it passes and it can do that, I'll say print remove item plus my message, which will say has been removed from the list. If it fails, that's this exception element here. I'm not interested in this comma E part, so I'm going to get rid of that. And all I'm going to do is copy this sentence here, paste it there, and say wasn't in the list. So now when I run this, if I drag this up again so you can see it, if I say I want to remove an item, what item do you want to remove? Say I said eggs, it would say eggs wasn't in the list. If I add item, and I add eggs, and then I go to remove item and try again, it then says eggs has been removed from the list. So with that in place, here is my full code. You should be able to have a fully working to-do list program. Your next task is then to put in comments, so explaining what the code is doing. Print a welcome message to my screen. Create a blank list. And you're going through, I'm going to get rid of some of these white spaces because Python doesn't need them. It does make it easier for us to read as we're programming it, but I can read it without the use of spaces, so that's fine. Brings it down to 32 lines of code. And I'm going to say here, sets up my add function, asks the user what they want to add, and so on and so forth. As you're going through the whole of this, you should be able to comment on every line of code, because you should be able to pause the video, go back on the video, find out what it is I've said, and then add those comments in. Once you've fully commented it, you click on submit up here, which will come out like that. I say leave, and it sends it and it says submitted version. You go back into Teams and just click on the turn in button. You don't have to attach anything, but by clicking on turn in, it lets me know that you have submitted it on here, so I can check on here. Anything you're unsure what to do, just put in the comment. So I will take it out of the submitted version to put a comment back in, and just put I don't understand. That way, I will know what parts you're not sure with and what parts to focus on going forward. Any questions, just drop me an email.